Hello everyone. I am Dr. Rajiv Bhatia. I am working as HOD in Department of Civil Engineering at Mirchand Polytechnic College, Jalandhar. I hope you all people are safe and fine at your places. So today we are going to start with chapter number 2 of construction materials, which is related to bricks and tiles. So it is in continuation to my previous lecture, which was for chapter number 1, which was building stones. So today, in today's lecture, we will be looking at various parameters which are being used in the manufacturing of clay bricks and tiles. So first of all, coming to the introduction part to the bricks, as we all know, the bricks are artificially made from natural materials. So brick is a building material which is used to make walls, pavements, and other elements in masonry construction. Traditionally, the term brick referred to as a unit composed of clay, but it is now used to denote any rectangular units laid in mortar. So there are certain facts which we should know before before going to the details of this particular chapter. Bricks are obtained by molding clay into rectangular blocks of uniform size and then drying and then burning. They can be arranged in different layers due to uniform size. Bricks are light in weight and hence does not require any special lifting apparatus as it is required in stones. They don't require dressing as discussed in the chapter of stones. They are easily available and extensively being used due to its durability, strength, low cost, reliability, etc. In India, this sector has not changed much in enhancing the quality of the brick, as it is confined to the unorganized small sector. Though it is under IS code, but looking at the condition of the unorganized brick kilns, I don't think any of the brick kiln is having a IS mark on their brick. So first of all, coming to the components of a brick, we can clearly see this is a brick, clay brick. This is the longer edge, which is known as stretcher. This is the shorter edge, which is known as header, and this indent on the brick, this is known as the frog. So if we see the dimensions of this brick, standard dimension, they are 190 centimeters, 190 millimeters by 90 millimeters by 90 millimeters. So a standard size of the brick should be 19 centimeter by 9 centimeter by 9 centimeter. Now to make a brick, good quality brick, we must know what is the composition of good brick earth. As earth is required, soil is required to manufacture the bricks. So following are the major constituents of a good brick earth. First is the alumina. So major chief constituent of every kind of clay. Good brick earth should contain 20 to 30% of alumina. The function of alumina is it imparts plasticity to that it can be molded. If present in excess, if it is greater than 20 to 30%, with adequate quantity of sand, the raw bricks shrink and wrap during drying and burning and becomes too hard when burnt. So we can say that 20 to 30% is the optimum range of this alumina. We can't go beyond this limit as it goes for the defects in brick. Second major constituent is the silica. This exists in clay either as free or combined form. As free sand, it is mechanically mixed with clay. Good brick earth should contain 50 to 60% of silica. It prevents cracking, shrinkage, and wrapping of the brick. Excess of silica destroys the cohesion between particles and bricks become brittle. Third major constituent is the lime. This is the small quantity of lime not exceeding 5% is desirable in good brick earth. It should be in very fine powdered state. Sand fuses with lime at kiln temperature and work as a cementing material for the brick particles. Excess of lime can cause the brick to melt and shape is lost. Another constituent in good brick earth is the oxide of iron, and the quantity which is desirable is 5 to 6%. And this constituent is responsible for imparting red color to the brick. It helps lime to fuse with sand. Excess of iron oxide makes the bricks dark blue or blackish in color. Less quantity gives yellow color to bricks. So we should take care of this constituent, that the quantity should not exceed 5 to 6%, or it should not be less than 5 to 6%, as it can give yellow color to the brick. Then we have magnesia. Small quantity of magnesia in brick earth imparts yellow tint and decreases the shrinkage. Excess will lead to decay of the bricks. The process of manufacturing of bricks from clay involves preparation of clay, molding, and then drying, and then finally burning of bricks. The earth should consist of considerable amount of free silica in addition to alumina. The presence of sand helps in preventing cracking, shrinkage, and wrapping of bricks. In addition of lime in clay, it helps to fuse sand and thereby increases the hardness of the brick. So lime, if we add lime in this brick earth, it helps in increasing the hardness, and sand, it helps in decreasing the cracking process, shrinkage, and wrapping of the brick. So this is some ideal composition of a good brick earth. Alumina is 27%, clay particles should be 27%, silica sand should be 66%, lime and magnesia, it should be 1%, oxide of iron, it should be 1%, organic matter can be 5%, so total composition is 100%. Now if we see the manufacturing of brick, there are 4 major operations. First is the preparation of the clay. We have to identify the site from where we have to select this clay. We have to take this clay and then we go for molding process, then we go for sun drying, and then finally burning in the brick kilns. So first operation, preparation of clay, it involves following sub operations. The clay of brick is prepared in the following order: unsoiling. The top 200 mm layer, 20 centimeter of layer is removed as it contains impurities and vegetations. Then we must go for digging. Clay is dug out of the ground and spread on a leveled ground. Then clay should be cleaned for pebbles, vegetable matters, etc. This process is known as cleaning. Then the next process is weathering. Clay is exposed to atmospheric agencies for softening. Blending. Clay is made loose and ingredients to be added to it. So in this stage, we can add whatever the deficient particles are there, deficient ingredients are there. So we can blend it over here. Then it is tempering. It involves bringing the clay to proper degree of hardness and to made fit for the next operation of molding. So water is required, in required quantity is added so that it can give a proper consistency to the clay. So preparation of mud involves tempering. Manual tempering can be done, or it can be done with the help of pug mills if we are going for the mechanical devices. So converting the brick earth to mud of proper consistency by thoroughly mixing with desired quantity of water is known as the tempering process. So tempering can be manual or it can be mechanical. So in case of manual, the clay is spread on a platform and thoroughly mixed under feet of either man or kettle. Water is added gradually in small quantities till desired homogeneity and plasticity are obtained. If we are going to manufacture the bricks in large number, then this tempering process is mechanically done with the help of pug mills. So this is the typical cross section of a pug mill. We can clearly see this is of a shape which is having a diameter 1 meter at the top and 0.75 meter diameter at the bottom. So these are slanting sides. This is the ground level, and this much portion is under the ground and this portion is above the ground. So we have a long arm over here and it has a blades, knives in between. So clay is poured in this particular pug mill, water is added, and it is revolved around this pivot in a circular motion, and this pug mill gives us the proper consistency and proper plasticity to the clay. Second operation is the molding of bricks. So molding can be hand molding, or it can be ground molded, or it can be table molding of the bricks. So using skilled manpower, hand molding can be done. Most common method is in India, it is the hand molding. The quality of tempered clay is kept soft. More water content, 18 to 25% by weight, is added. So we can call this method as soft mud process. Second method of molding is the ground molding. Bricks are shaped from such a soft mud by hand on a specially prepared ground. And another method, which is table molding, bricks are shaped from such a soft mud by hand or specified designed table. So this is the process of hand molding. Molds are rectangular boxes of wood or steel which are open at top and bottom. Steel molds are more durable and used for manufacturing of bricks in the large scale. So bricks prepared by hand molding are of two types. They can be ground molded or they can be table molded. So in ground molding, in this method, the ground is first leveled and fine sand is sprinkled over it so that it does not stick with the ground. The mold is dipped in water and placed over the ground. The mold is dipped in water just to lubricate it. The clay is pressed in the mold in such a way that it fills all the concerns of the mold. Any surplus earth from the top of the mold is removed using cutting wire or metal. The same mold can be used for other also so that wastage is avoided. And the process of table molding, the process of operations are carried out on a special designed molding table. The clay, the mold, water pot, stock board, etc. are placed on the table. The bricks are molded similar to the ground molding on the table. The cost of the brick increases when table molding is adopted. So this process is a little costlier as compared to the ground molding. Now this is a typical cross-section plan and cross-section of a mold. This is the top portion of the mold, and this is the cross-section cut over here. We can clearly see we have a bottom over here. We can see this indent which is formed with the help of this particular portion. This forms the frog, and we can see the steel molds being used for the molding of bricks. And in this way, the bricks are molded in large number. And this is the wooden molds which are being used for the molding process. After molding process, because the bricks are wet in nature, so they are subjected to the sun drying process. So we can see over here, this is the process of sun drying. When the clay bricks, they get certain strength, only then they are lifted and they are placed in the kiln. So we can see this process. The sides are inverted, they are kept vertical to get dry. Even some shades are provided, or covered portions they can be provided in case of rain if it is expected. So these are sun-dried bricks. Next comes the burning of clay bricks. So clay bricks can be burnt by two methods. If a large quantity of bricks are to be manufactured, then brick kiln is used. And if the quantity of bricks to be manufactured are less, then we can go for clamp burning. This is a typical cross-section of two type of kilns which are being used in India. One is the Bull Trench kiln, another is the Hoffman kiln. So this is the cross-section. We can clearly see this is the Hoffman kiln and this is the Bull Trench. Commonly in northern India, this Bull Trench kiln is being used. Now we can see what is the difference between these two type of brick kilns. So here in the column number 1, we have the items, and in the second and third column, we are going to differentiate between these two type of brick kilns. So first of all, burning capacity. Bull Trench kiln, it is about 3 lakh to in 12 days. It is about 40 lakhs in one season. So continuity of working, it stopped functioning during monsoon season. It stopped functioning during monsoon season and it is not provided with permanent roof. In this Hoffman kiln, it functions all the year with the permanent roof. Cost of fuel, it is high as consumption of fuel is more. In this case, the consumption of fuel is less. Drying space, it requires more drying space. It requires less because it is covered. Initial cost is low. The initial cost is very high. Investment cost is high. Nature, it is a semi-continuous. So in rainy season, it stops. And after the rainy season, it again continues. So it is a continuous type of nature in case of Hoffman because it is covered. So it can be carried out. The operations can be carried out or the burning can be carried out throughout the year. So popularity, more people because less initial cost is involved. So this is less popular because of high initial cost. Quality of brick, percentage of quality of, in this case, Hoffman kiln, it is more. And in this case, it was all about the molding process and the burning process of the bricks. So we can clearly see what we have studied today. We, the bricks are the construction material which are very widely used in construction of structures, in construction of brick houses.